And welcome to CentralValleyTalk.com. I'm John Mallows. You are watching the business segment here on your laptop or your computer, whatever the case may be. Maybe you're watching on your phone right now live. With me is my first guest here, Annette Smurr, the law offices of Annette Smurr, and you are a defense attorney. You've been in business for how long, Annette?
I've been an attorney since 1988.
Since 1988.
Yes.
And you've always specialized in the criminal aspect of this, or?
Yes, I started out, like most young lawyers, at the County Public Defender's Office. I worked for a time at the Federal Defender's Office, and from there, I did various other things.
Yeah. How's business these days? Who are you defending? Let me ask you that.
Yes, business is good, unfortunately. I say unfortunately because we have a built-in police force that continuously is arresting people and is continuously providing my clientele.
Right. And so what are, give us an idea what some of the cases that you've been able to handle here, or maybe the ones that you're juggling right now, but any high-profile ones in the past?
In the past, yes, I did have a couple. One was a woman that had been arrested for attempted murder, and it was because of her text messages. So she wasn't even.
What did those text messages say?
She wasn't even in Fresno at the time that the attempted murder happened, but they kept her in jail for almost 2 months pre-trial, based on that small amount of evidence.
Well, what did she say in the text that prompted police to arrest her?
Well,
were there threats?
There were not so much threats. It was basically, it turned out that they were warnings, but it could have been taken as threats, and that's how the police took it.
But
they were actually warnings to an ex-husband that was staying at her home while she was out of town, that somebody was going to come and do harm to him. So it sounded like it was attempted murder, but that was a case that got attention in the media because of it being based on texts only, and it was a few years ago now, but I was able to get that case dismissed, and that was a real win.
Yeah, what makes a good defense attorney? I'd like to know. Well, what do you have to do? I mean, do you have to believe in your client? Do you have to believe that your client is completely innocent, or does that not matter? Is your job just to try to get that person off the hook, whether they're guilty or not?
That is a good question. It's a question I get a lot from friends and family. You do need to believe in your client, but that does not mean that you even ask them if they are guilty or not guilty.
Why don't you ask them?
Because regardless, your responsibility as a criminal defense attorney is to defend the Constitution and their constitutional rights as they're laid out for criminal suspects. And because there's a great chance, and most of the time they are incarcerated pre-trial, and bail is set enormously high. That's another whole issue I could talk to you about, that our bail system is, I think, is extremely unfair. But even though you're supposed to be considered innocent before proven guilty, it really doesn't work that way. So what it takes to be a good defense attorney is to care, to listen, and to vigorously defend the Constitution and their constitutional rights during the process of their
But before you start
case.
representing the client, I'm sure you interview them, and there's a moral aspect to this whole thing. You know, do you want to defend them? If it's not you, it's going to be someone else. I mean, is that a fair statement that you okay, look, did you do it? Just tell me, because from a moral standpoint, I need to know whether I want to defend you or not. I mean, does that make sense?
It does make sense, and whatever is said to me in the context of a lawyer-client relationship, I cannot repeat. I cannot use that information against them. It is my duty to do everything legally possible to
I mean, yeah, but once you're representing them, but I'm talking about beforehand when you're interviewing them.
Okay. So beforehand, when I'm interviewing them, I listen to what they have to say.
Yeah.
Usually, and I really mean more often than not, drugs are involved, substance abuse,
Wow.
alcohol,
Okay.
mental illness. So there is some sympathetic factor typically. I mean, it's rare to find that cold-blooded, person that will go out and just commit offenses for the sake of committing offenses, although there are gangs and things like that. And I represent a variety. But what I mostly see is alcohol fueling domestic violence, drunk drivings. It fuels just fights at parties. It fuels assaults. It drug offenses and drug addictions cause people to go out and commit robberies. I actually interviewed that gentleman that's been on the news lately, that I believe is suing the vigilante that stabbed him 18 times when he was in the process of allegedly robbing a Starbucks. That was
Okay, which one are you
recent.
representing?
I'm not representing him, but
okay.
he was looking to retain counsel
With you.
and he, I think, was shopping.
Which one? The guy that attacked the
No,
attacker?
the guy
The
that is
perpetrator,
charged
the original
with
perpetrator
robbing.
that
Yes.
tried to rob. So he sought you out?
Yes. Yeah.
And you told
I
him-
was one of the ones that he interviewed. I think he ended up going with, I'm not sure who he went with criminally, but I
Were
do.
you considering taking that case? Or?
I would have taken that case if he could have retained me, but they didn't have the funds to retain.
What's
and-
your retaining fee?
Well, it varies.
Give us a figure.
$3,500 for misdemeanors, and it can be $5,000 to $15,000 for felonies, and
Wow.
federal cases can be $15,000 and up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So why would you have taken that case? I mean, the video is, they have video, I believe. Didn't I see video of that? Wasn't there a piece of video, cell phone video?
There was
of the
video.
fight?
Yes, and when
Why would you represent a guy that is caught on... Now, I'm not saying the guy's guilty. I'm not prosecuting him here.
Yes.
But the evidence points toward the fact that, he is accused of committing this heinous act at Starbucks.
Right. Let me just kind of set...
I'm sure you've gotten these questions before.
Yes.
Why would you represent somebody
Why
like
would
that?
I represent somebody like that? Because that's my job. I chose this job because I would prefer that not one innocent person be incarcerated rather than to incarcerate the wrong person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, when I interviewed this guy, his eye was wobbling around in his head, and I said, "What happened to your eye?"
Okay.
I didn't know anything when I
Okay.
went to go see him,
Yeah.
and
Part
he
of the
said,
attack,
"I
or-
was stabbed," and I said,
Oh.
"Oh."
Wow.
Well, it says here that you are in here for robbery, and then it went from there, and he showed us the 18 stab wounds,
Yeah.
and it appeared excessive for what he did. He said he ended up begging for his life, and telling this vigilante that he has a 4-year-old son, and begging him just let him go. He wanted to run from the scene,
right.
Probably at the first stab wound. But
why do you try to rob the place to begin with? Did he say?
I believe it was drug addicted,
Okay.
and was probably out of his mind and had one thing on his mind, and that was
to rob.
get more money, to get more drugs. And really our criminal problems here in Fresno and everywhere, it's not just heinous people. It's so much deeper. It's substance abuse mostly.
Yeah, I understand that. And
Yeah.
so you've been practicing how long now?
Well, since 1988.
Since
On and
1988.
off, but I opened my own practice in 2008.
Yeah, and you went to law school where?
Golden Gate Law School in San Francisco.
Okay, and how do people...
Undergraduate at UC Berkeley. Go Cal.
Okay, all right. Now, if people want to get in touch with you and they want to contact you because they have some kind of a problem, and how would they reach you? Do you have social media and all that?
I do. I have a website. It's smurrlawoffice.com. And my phone...
Go ahead.
Oh, well, the phone number...
I was going to ask you for the phone number.
Is 559-441-7100. And we have a small office, but we are all women and very, very diligent.
Where's your office located?
It is located at 2014 Tulare Street in the T.W. Patterson building on the 5th floor, Suite 528.
Okay. Can they contact you via social media at all or no?
Yes, they can.
How's that?
I just recently had my daughter redo my website, and they're able to email me through there, and then my web, not master, but my the holder of my website will contact me.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And
But mostly I get phone calls.
yeah. Before I let you go here, in your opinion, do defense attorneys, to a certain extent, do they get a bad rap?
I think they do. I really
How so?
do. Because if you are a person that goes to church, or in maybe other cases temple, I go to church. Most of the people that I associate with have the attitude of, how can you represent such a reprehensible person?
Evil.
Yes, and honestly, I feel that you have to have compassion, but you also have to be realistic. It is the way that I make my living, but I feel like I'm helping people. Those people that they have issues. They have mental health issues, substance abuse issues, drug and alcohol, and it's not a small thing. It's a real thing, and they need assistance.
Yeah, of course, there's the issue that many of these people, they can't be rehabilitated. They're on drugs for life. They're on alcohol for life. Whatever the case may be.
Well, I'm an incurable optimist, and I believe in, that it is possible, and relapse is part of recovery.
Yeah.
But it does tend to fall on deaf ears. It's much easier to, I think, be a prosecutor, because the police have done all of their investigation, all of their work. They wrap up their case. They hand it to the DA. The DA files the charges, and they're ready to go. And I'm just getting a copy of a police report, and I have to start with my feet running, because we're behind. We start behind.
Okay.
Yeah, and we need to do our own investigations and our own looking into other people that perhaps the police didn't look at, because many times they do the quick route. They talk to one or two people, and they don't go through the neighborhood and knock on doors and find out.
You do that?
Yes, we have. Yes, I do.
Personally?
I
or
personally will go with an investigator to do that.
Do you have an investigator that works with you, or
I do.
you do? So they go and knock on doors and ask questions?
Yes, you've got to, because if you just rely on the police report and you don't back it up yourself by talking to individuals that are listed in the police report, but also that may not be listed in the police report, you won't get the full picture. Oftentimes, defense attorneys know more about the case by the time it comes to trial, I think, than the prosecutor does, because we do such diligent work.
Very time-consuming work, though, and it's very tedious, I would assume.
It is. It is, and especially with social media now and Facebook, I think that has added quite another element. Back when I said I did that case about the attempted murder with text, that was something that would never have come to the stage of arrest, because you couldn't write a letter encouraging. I mean, I suppose you could, but social media has upped things quite a bit, because people say things on there that get them in trouble, and they post photos of themselves holding guns and things like that.
Very, I mean, it provides the other side with evidence when they do that.
Yes, it does, and it can
damaging.
It can be falsifying too, because anyone can open a Facebook account, a fake one, and try to refute something.
Okay, do you have any partners that work with you, or any other attorneys, or is it just you?
Don't. It's just me. I'm a sole practitioner.
Okay. All right. And once again, your telephone number is 441-7100.
Yes.
Annette Smurr, right?
Smurr.
Smurr. Not smear, Smurr.
Exactly.
Smurr.
Smear sounds bad.
Smear sounds bad. And we're not trying to smear you here. It's Annette Smurr.
Yes.
And I thank you very much for
thank
coming
you
on the
very
program.
much.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
It was
Good
a
luck
pleasure
to you.
meeting you too.
All right. Hey, by the way, what's your caseload right now? How many cases do you have?
Oh gosh, I would say.
Are you handling right now about 2, 3, 4, 5?
Oh no, about 15, 20.
15 to 20.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
15 to 20. How can you do service to each and every one when you have such a heavy caseload?
Well, they're spread out.
Okay.
They're not all in one day. I can spread them out, and some of them are out of county too. Some of them are in Madera, so I service Madera.
All
other
right.
counties.
So you service Fresno County, Madera County, and where else?
Well, any surrounding
Central
county,
Valley.
I will do it. The furthest I ever did was a desert community. I can't even remember the name of the county now, but it was,
All right, Annette, thank you so much, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, you've been watching the business segment here at CentralValleyTalk.com. I'm John Mallos. We'll see you next time.